All right. Is it working? There's always the coin toss, whether the dang thing's going to work or not. Looks like it's working. All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Gear Talk, episode 26. 26 episodes of me sitting around talking about skates. It's been a crazy, year that I started this? Maybe year and a half. Thank you all for showing up. I really appreciate it. It is great to take some time out of my week to just kind of relax, not stare at the computer, just talk about skate stuff. And, I'm really thrilled that people join me live. This is every other Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern. We also put the audio on the podcast, but if you have an opportunity to join us live, it's great. The chat room is always full of great questions and people having conversations. If you are in the chat room and you have a question for me, please make sure that you tag me or mention me or whatever you want to call it in the chat at Back to Blading. That way I will see it when I scroll through. It's really hard because there's a lot of comments and it's hard to keep track. All right, so the way that I start every episode of Gear Talk is I'm going to talk about the current skates that I'm on. This is something that usually opens up a lot of conversations. I don't stick to skate setups very long, maybe a couple weeks at most. And I always have good opinions on, or at least I have opinions on why I'm skating them and why I'm not. And I'm going to share a little bit now with, starting with my aggressive setup. So, aggressive setup, I am still on the USD 7. Again, I love the USD 7. I think that if you have an opportunity to pick up a pair, the USD 7 is the best skate for the price. $200, you can get it even less boot only if you wanted and bring your own frames, but $200 is an amazing deal for this caliber of skate. The hard shell feels like the traditional skates that you're used to. The MyFit liner that comes with this one is an amazing fit for me. It feels great. The sole plate slides amazingly. And I mean, even the Kaiser fluid frames that it comes with, they're great frames. So absolutely no complaints about this skate. If you have a need to get new skates, highly recommend the USC 7s. I'm going to be sticking with this boot for a while. It is my go-to boot for aggressive skating. So if anybody asks and wants to get back into skating, I go one of two ways. I'll go with the USD Aeon 60, which I think is the best all-around skate. But if they want something that's UFS, they want to be able to customize their setups and such, always recommend the USD 7. It is the best. 2 weeks ago, I put on these white 50/50, 58 millimeter 88A wheels. These were the samples that I got with the last shipment of wheels, and they're holding up great. So you can see there's some wear in the front wheel, very little wear in the back wheel. These things are great. Less wear than I was expecting, less wear than with the 85A, but they also provide pretty good grip. So I'm really happy with them. We've placed an order for production for these wheels. They should be arriving in the early July. I think production starts next week, and it usually takes about a week to get here, so I'm assuming that it's going to be in the first week of July. 4th of July is a holiday here in the States, so I don't know what's going to happen that first week. It might get delayed an additional week, but I'm saying July, probably early July. Don't know what week in July. I won't know until they ship. 88A. Really, really happy with 88A. I think there's a lot of merit to 85A, these things. So these are the original 50/50 wheels. They have the face profile, similar face profile. It's a 58 mil. It's almost a bullet profile, but with a flat 9 millimeter run tread, I guess you could call it. These are 85A, and these things feel amazing when you're skating on a skate park or just around town. I mean, they feel great just skating. But they're 85A. So for a lot of people, maybe they're a bigger set, or maybe they go bigger. They want something a little harder. 88A is the answer. I don't know that we need to go any harder than this. I might get some 90A samples just to test, but I don't know that it's worth it. You know, if you want good wheels, I think 88A is where you should go. There's a bunch of other companies out there that make really high quality 88A wheels. Undercover comes in 88, Eulogy comes in 88, Dead comes in 88. There's plenty of wheels that come in 88. I like 88. I think that 88 is the best feeling wheel that I've had for all around skating. Now, if you want them to last longer, definitely get a harder wheel. Get something like a 90, 92A. You know, I like the Conjure brand stuff. I like the sick urethane stuff. Dead is always a good option as well. I haven't tried Red Eye yet, but I'm going to try to get a set and test them out. Harder wheels definitely will last longer if they're good urethane, but I don't know that you really need that. You know, the compromise that you get for harder wheels, it's just a harder ride. It doesn't feel as good when you're skating. So for me, 88A is the way to go. Again, these are on pre-order now. The pre-orders start on Friday, Thursday night at midnight. So if you want to get a set, please do early. We're sold out of our 85A. I have another set, another production coming, but I was expecting those to last a little longer. So I don't know how long these 88As are going to last. If you want a set, please make sure that you get in there. I don't like saying that we're out. So Thursday night, midnight, definitely worth getting a look at. I'll add that they're going to look like these. They're going to be black. The gray on the graphic is a dark gray. It's not going to be the light gray that you see on the 85A. That's how you'll be able to tell the difference between the two. But I like sticking with, you know, the grays and the blacks and the whites. I think that the skates are where the color comes in. I'm not a big fan of colored wheels. I think colored frames are fun. You know, yellow frames, obviously. Red frames could be cool. Orange frames for some of us who like orange balanced core frames. But for me, I like a black wheel. I like a white wheel. I want the graphics on the wheel to be very neutral so that I can enhance that with laces, with boots, with buckles, things like that. So the first run are going to be black. They're going to look very similar to these. They're going to be a darker gray. Go to the website or go to the Instagram or Facebook if you want more information. So yeah, this is my aggressive setup. Really loving it. The big wheel setup. So when I'm doing urban, where did it go? Oh, here it is. Doing urban, I am still on my USD Aeon 72s. These things are my favorite urban skate. And that's weird to say because they're not really an urban skate. They're kind of like an aggressive skate. But I think it depends on how you define urban. For me, urban skating is just skating around your city and doing whatever you want. And I love that I can skate fast with these, but I still have a 4-finger gap, so I can do groove tricks. I can do sole tricks. You know, it's the same sole as my Aeon 60 sole. It's exactly the same. It's the same bottom. So the only thing that changes is the frame. And the frame, very similar. You know, the grooves are very similar. The big difference here is that because it fits a 72 mil wheel, this H-block is a lot taller, which means that if you want to get boot down on a Royale, you got to get a much lower than if you were on the 60 mil Aeons. But yeah, these are great. Skating them with the 72 mil 85A compass wheels, we skated a ton on that first session. It was like a 2-hour session, and we were skating all around downtown Durham. I promise that the edit is coming soon. I don't have a date. I'm collaborating with some other YouTube people on making this edit, and I don't have an ETA on it. I'm hoping that it's going to be out next week or so, but honestly, I don't know. But that's not going to stop me. I'm going to try to go out again this weekend and do another urban edit with these skates, and I'll push out that one. I think it's so much fun just skating around your city. I was doing stair rides again. I was doing wall rides again. Things that I haven't done in years. And these skates felt great. So the 72 mil wheels, these are the 72 85s. And when we got the samples for the 88A 58 mil 50/50 wheels, we also didn't tell you this, but we also got samples for 88A, 72A. Again, 88A is much better for durability. And you could see that after this one session, these wheels are wearing pretty quick. It's not a bad thing. I was doing slides. I was skating hard with them. But they're definitely wearing. And an 85A, you know, that's a comfort thing. That's more for skating, you know, recreational, right? An aggressive wheel, typically, if you're skating outdoors, you're going to want it to be a little harder, maybe 88A. So we got some 88A samples in. And I didn't show you guys these. I should have, but I didn't show you guys these. And the reason is that I actually am not skating these. I only got 12 of these wheels in. And, 8 of these wheels in. And I need 8 wheels for my Aeon 72s. I'm not skating the Wish frames yet. I have them, but I'm not skating them on this. I sent these up to my friend Guy Crawford so that he could test them and give his blessing, because we are releasing a Guy Crawford Pro Model wheel, which is going to be 72 millimeter 88A. Now, if you don't know who Guy Crawford is, probably one of the best known of the UK skaters from the 90s. Guy has been, you know, he grew up in the UK. He's living in Toronto now with his family, and he's just an amazing person. So, you know, first of all, amazing skater, right? If you ever looked at the old Unity mag back in the UK, you know, it was a skate magazine, kind of like Daily Bread, you would see Guy in there all the time. He skated for 50/50 back in the days. He was on the UK distribution team, and just an amazing skater. You know, he's been around forever. Great style when he does his grinds. Great style. He's amazing at flat spins. That's kind of what he's known for. He does flat fives and just, I mean, he just floats. He was doing flat fives on the Mini Mega at the Woodward, what year is it, last year? Incredible guy, but he's also just an amazing person. And, you know, I couldn't think of somebody better. I wanted to do a pro wheel, but I didn't really know how. You know, Compass, the whole idea of Compass was we wanted to make wheels based on cities and based on the way that people skate. So the first wheels, you know, the 72s, where are they? Oh no, did I lose them? I think I gave them away. I don't have them out here. Here's some Raleighs. So these are the Raleigh wheels. Raleigh is a city nearby, and this is where I like to skate urban. And this is probably where I'm going to go this weekend. 80 millimeter is really great for skating urban. So there's a story behind that. So I've named all of the 85A hardness wheels after cities that I've skated in North Carolina. And I wanted to make a wheel for Guy. So Guy's wheel is for, instead of, you know, Raleigh or a city in North Carolina, it's after his hometown in the UK, Bristol, and his transition to Toronto. So you'll see on the graphic that there's a Bristol map and then a Toronto map, and there's a nice transition between the two. Guy did all of the graphics. He was really involved with this project. Super excited to announce him as our first pro wheel. Again, an amazing skater. Pre-orders for those will start on Friday as well, Thursday night at midnight. Yeah, I mean, if you want to support Guy, he's definitely getting some money out of this as well. It's going to help everyone. He is well deserving. You know, he's one of those guys that you wish would have gotten a pro product back in the days, but for whatever reason didn't. It's crazy. It was his 40th birthday yesterday when we announced the wheel, and it just, you know, happened. It wasn't planned that way, but that was, you know, when I said we're going to announce, and he's like, oh, that's funny. It's my 40th birthday. So couldn't be happier. Please, you know, if you know Guy, reach out and say, hey, wish him happy birthday, and, you know, let him know that, you know, he's a good dude. So that's my urban setup. For distance, so I haven't skated these Flying Eagles for a while. This isn't really my distance skating, but I need to start skating distance a little bit more. These are the Flying Eagle F7s, and I have supersonic frames on them. These are the 110s, the 3x110s. These skates are great. I need to skate them again. Again, I have only skated them once. Flying Eagle, not a super well-known company in the States, but they're pretty popular outside. Really great urban boot. It's a 165 mount, so it's a raised heel. It's got a shock absorber in the back. It's got the 45-degree strap with the ratchet buckle. It's great. Really well made. Dual density so that it's got a really good tightening. The plastic on top is a little softer so you can get a really good grip into your foot. Funny enough, we're making 110 millimeter wheels. I swear I didn't plan it this way. But we're making 110 millimeter compass wheels. So these are those. So these are the 110 mil. I announced them today. They're called Carborough wheels. They're 110.85. They're going to be out same time. They're going to be on the same shipment. Again, Thursday midnight if you're interested. I think these will stick around a little bit. Definitely jump on those 50, 58, 88s. Since they sold out so quickly, I have a feeling that those are going to sell out pretty quickly. I don't know that you need to jump on these, but if you need 110 mil wheels, these are really good ones. Guy also has been skating these. I sent him a set. I'm going to switch these out for this setup and skate these this weekend. Hopefully this weekend, maybe beginning of next week. It's hard to say. But really interested to see how they hold up. I haven't skated distance with 110s in a long time. I've been skating these swells, but since it started raining around here, I've stopped skating distance. It's really hard to skate when the ground gets slippery, and I just haven't had the fun in skating in the weather like that. So hoping that these make a difference. These are really fun skates. I like the shorter wheelbase, but it's not too short. It's a really great setup. So look for a video. I hope to get out there this weekend, maybe beginning of next week. All right, so that is my current setups. Those are my 3 skates that I'm skating for aggressive, urban, and trails. Let me check the comments real quick and see if anybody has any questions that I can answer, and then I'll keep going. Hardcore Inliner. Are you going to do the 15% royalty like Them Skates is doing? 15%. Would it be 15%? It's pretty close. I don't know that it's 15%. It's a good deal. I'll tell you that. I wanted to make sure that the riders could get something out of this that they were happy with. Back in the days when we were doing the 50-50 stuff, our margins were really slim and we didn't have a lot of money to pay the riders. So we didn't have good royalties back then. We tried, but we couldn't afford it. Here I have a lot lower overhead. It's just me, and this is a thing that I do because I love it. It's not a thing that I do to rely on. I love making new products and putting more stuff out there. Average is probably going to be a good comparison to the 15% that Them is doing. I don't want to get into specific numbers because it gets a little complicated, but we're definitely taking care of our riders. I think that it is important that if a rider so as a company owner, I've got 2 minds of it. So I think that there is an importance for if you're going to use, as a company owner, if you're going to use somebody's likeness in promotion, then you need to give them something. And that can be a form of product. I think a lot of skaters out there really just want to skate. So give me some wheels, give me some frames, give me some clothes, give me whatever. Clothes maybe less, but definitely hardware because they're going to go through stuff. So we definitely have a really good relationship with all of our team riders for getting product. If they ever need anything, I do everything that I can to make sure that they get product as quickly as possible. When you're actually selling a product with their name on it, that changes things. That's where money is involved, and it's a direct relation between how much is sold and what it's worth as the person. If you're selling 100 pairs of skates or whatever, and they use Sean Darst as the name on the skate, then obviously how much money you made on those. And I think that the skater deserves a cut. A lot of credit goes to John Julio for really pushing that rider royalty thing. He knows that back in the days it was really difficult for us to do royalties. And that just might be me. I mean, as 50/50, we had a really difficult time doing royalties. We were a really small company. It was just Jess and I. We never had any financial investments. We were small. We were running it off of credit cards and a dream. And we didn't have money to pay our writers. Some companies did, and maybe they didn't do as good of a job as they could have. Honestly, I don't know, but I give John full credit for trying to make sure that that doesn't happen again, and I'm going to follow suit. So the deals that we have with our writers who are getting pro product are good, and we've worked with the writers. We haven't gone out and said, this is what you make, that's it. We've worked with them. We've been transparent about how much things are costing us and make sure that they feel good about it. So thank you for asking, though. I think that is a really important question. I think that every company is in a different situation. So I think that a flat 15% doesn't make a lot of sense for some people. But I'm really happy to hear that them is able to do that, and we're going to do everything that we can to make sure that the writers get as much as they can. All right. Back to blading. Aaron Rubel. Any plans to try the USD carbons? Yes. I have a pair of those Prado skates on order, but I don't know when they're going to come in. The Michael Prado skates, they look really great. They're carbon free. And the reason that I didn't really want to do the carbons was because I wasn't a huge fan of the flexiness, and I wasn't a huge fan of the sole plate. I don't know that I can get around the flexiness. I think that I'm going to have to deal with the flexiness, but the sole plate on the Michael Prado skates are the same as the USD 7, and that is an amazing sole plate. So I think if I can get away with a USD 7 sole plate, I'm all for trying the carbons. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get a pair, though. I think they're pretty limited. I don't know that they're going to have a lot of them shipping out, so we'll see. I did place an order, but it's back ordered, so we'll see if I can get a pair, but I'm looking forward to it. It's one of those few skates that I haven't tried yet, so I really want to give them a good try. I've heard really good things about, for grinds and stuff. Maybe a little too flexy for urban skating or for big wheel skating, but they're definitely, if I wanted to replace my 7s, they're one of those higher end, more expensive skates that I should consider. Hardcore inliner, red frames, please. Nothing to announce today. We'll see. Denzi's Arcilla. I want to see you skating the Solomons. Yeah. Where did they go? Here they are. So my friend Andrew Kingery sent these over. These are the Solomon Aaron Feinbergs with the King Souls. I haven't set them up yet. I really need to. I just haven't had the time. The amount of time that I spend skating is so limited lately. I want to make sure that I give them the attention that they deserve, and I just haven't had time to really jump on them. But they sure look amazing. I think I'm going to love them. But yeah, I need to devote some time to it. I've got those, so I've got the Rossi's Fifth Elements on order. Those should be here end of the month, beginning of next month. So as soon as those come in, I'll skate those. I got to try those out because I'm just really curious. These, probably August. I think that's a pretty good estimation. Unless I get those Michael Prado skates, I'll probably be skating the Solomons in August. All right. A couple more questions from Hardcore Inliner. The wheels are going to be the same price. Yes. Everything's going to be the same price. These 110s are going to be $13. It was a really difficult price to come up with because they're kind of all over the place. But I looked at how much they're costing me. We do the 100 millimeter wheels for $11, and that's a pretty competitive price. I've seen 110s go anywhere as low as $10 and anywhere as high as who knows. The undercovers are like 14 or so, and I think that these are pretty comparable to undercovers. So I put them at 13. That's enough money for us to make. It puts them so that the set of 6. So if you wanted to replace the wheels on your skates, a set of 6 would be less than $80. And I think that $80 is a really good number for a new set of wheels to replace all of your wheels on your skates. So I think $13 is a good price. Obviously, we'll put them out there and see what people think. But 110 mil wheels, they're really expensive to make. Like they're dollars more than these 58s. And I mean, these are $10. So really difficult, but I think 13 is a good price. So obviously, let me know. I listen. So if they don't sell and if they're too expensive, that's great. If they're worth more than I'm charging, let me know that too. I'd love to make a little bit more money so that I have a little bit more room to pay team and to make more products. Okay. Let me get to the box. This week, I got a box in the mail from my friend Rob Harrington. He, is the guy behind Conjure brand. He and I are good friends. He and I are always talking about skates and frames and wheels and stuff like that. He's just a really good dude to talk shop. If you haven't checked out ConjureCast on YouTube, definitely do. ConjureCast with a K and a K. Only 2 Ks. Don't get it twisted. He is, a really great guy. He sent me a pair of frames to test out that I'm really excited to test out. These have been around to a few different people, and the reviews have been really positive, and I can't wait to give them a shot. So here they are. They came in this crazy sealed case. They actually had locks on them, and I didn't have the combination to the locks, so it was like I couldn't even open them. But I took off the locks because, I wanted to make sure that I can get into them here. But here goes. Ugh, open it up. I can't open the case. There we go. All right. So, these are the Akira Frames. So the Akira Frames, these are an interesting project. So I'm pretty sure that's the way that they're pronounced, Akira. I wrote an email to the guy behind it and made sure that I got the name right. So these are machined out of a solid block of aluminum. They are a aggressive frame designed for park, I guess. Anything really, but I think they're really designed, and where they shine is skate park. So they are full aluminum. They have as much lightweight aluminum cut out as possible. So you can see through the frames. You can stick your finger all the way through. They have it's designed for skating flat, but it is similar to the Wish, it is a shifted flat rocker setup. So the outside wheels, these wheels are the Cameron Talbot 60 millimeter SICK urethane wheels. I think they're 90A. And then the inside, these are, I think, 55s. These are actually fairly flat. I'm not sure who makes these. Huh. Look like kind of like street urethane. What does it say? Street Invader? I don't know what it says. I don't know these wheels. But so 55s on the inside, 60s on the outside. They will ride flat. So, when you're skating, they create a flat wheelbase. They have a massive split. So the split is as far as I think you can get them without losing any height. So you know how the Wish frame has these wheels rocker up into the boot. It's a really great idea. These don't. It's a completely flat frame. I bet that it looks like you could ride these bigger. Instead of these 60s, you could probably fit like 65s 68s, maybe even 70s in here and wouldn't have a problem rubbing. And then I don't know what you would write on the inside, but the inside is the problem because the inside gets pretty close to rubbing in here. I don't think you want to go any higher, any bigger than 60. But that's kind of the point. They wanted to make a really low profile frame for doing, anything you want, but with as much rigidity and as much response as possible. So the way that they made these, cutting it out of a solid block of aluminum, there's really no compromise. This is as strong as you're going to get. They took out extra material to make it lighter, but they left enough to keep it strong. The split is enormous. It's got great wheel bite protection. I mean, it's a full fist split. The groove is nice. It's a rounded groove, kind of similar to the K2 if you're used to that. The K2 unnatural frames, these frames. So these are the K2 unnaturals. If you look at these side by side, you can see that the unnatural still has this rounded bottom. It's a rounded bottom here. It's really great. I'm really excited to test these. Thanks so much for sending them over so that I can give them a shot. I plan on skating these this weekend. I'm going to set them up on my 7s and give them a shot over at the wood skate park. If it's raining, I'm going to go to the factory, which is my indoor wood skate park. But if it's not, I'm going to go out to Chapel Hill Homestead and skate them there. That's the park that I went to last weekend, so I know it pretty well. I know what I'm capable of there, and I'm hoping that I can replicate the performance that I had on an anti-rocker setup with these frames. Does anybody have any questions on these? I'd love to answer some questions. I don't really know that there's much that I can talk about that I haven't already talked about. Without the wheels on, I'm sure they're going to be as light as possible. Aluminum frames are super light to begin with. The heaviest part here is the H-block. It's really beefy. Probably doesn't need to be that beefy, to be honest, because it's not like you're going to grind through the H-block, especially if you're skating parks and such. But that is the heavy point. That's the weight point. But they're really well balanced, really beautiful frames. I think Ben, my co-host for the Back to Blading podcast, Ben mentioned that he wants a pair of these just as a paperweight. And I agree. They're just beautiful to look at. All right, let me check and see if there's any comments. I'd be more than happy to answer questions if anybody has any. And please make sure that you tag me in them so that I can take a look at it. Yeah, they are very similar to the Wish. So here's a Wish frame. So these are my Wish frames. And yeah, it's a very similar concept. I mean, I think a lot of frames are coming like this now. The Kaiser Element looks like this, where the middle wheels are split and rockered down so that they can clear that UFS bolt, and the outside wheels are rockered up so that they create a flat ride. The big difference, of course, is that, the recommended size for the Wish frame, at least one of the recommended sizes, I know that there's a bunch of formulas that he recommends. One of the recommended sizes is 72/60. With a 72, you have to modify your boot on some of the sole plates. Not all sole plates, but some sole plates. Here, it looks like the recommended size is the 60/55. So it's really a flat ride. You don't have to modify anything. It'll fit on any boot without any modifications. Are the frames, so Kyle asks, are the frames meant to be flat 60, all four wheels? No, so these are meant to be like this. So you can't actually get a 60 in here. It will rub. The problem that you run into, so just like with the Kaiser Elements, these are flat 58s, and the only way that they got around 58 was that they were able to make the frame taller so that it could pass through this UFS bolt. This UFS bolt is the problem, and that's what's keeping people from pushing the groove width of frames. So eventually, if there were a UFS 2, we would probably see this UFS mount go from 167 to 190 or so. That would give us a lot more width. Maybe there'd be a backwards compatible way that you could fit 167, but if it went a little longer, you wouldn't have to, you could make this frame, this Kaiser Element frame, without having the height, which means that you could make this frame with flat 60s and not have to ride smaller wheels on the inside. That's a good question. All right, I am going to set these up in a little bit. I'll set them up over the weekend. If you have questions about them that I can answer, please let me know. I'm floored. I think that, first of all, to be on the list of people to try these is an honor. You know, I love that I get to play with them, and I love skate tech. I mean, I love when people come out and they come out with new stuff. You know, I was one of the first people to buy the Wish frames and support Cletus. I think that there needs to be more fresh ideas in our industry. You know, there haven't been a lot of new things coming out. I think Cletus really took it and ran with it. And since he came out with the Wish frame, there's been a lot of movement. You know, you've got the Elements, you've got those Crew, you've got you know, plenty of different frames out there that people are working on, the Sola frames. There's a lot of good movement right now, and I love it. You know, I love people investing in skating. And it doesn't mean money. It means time. It means ideas. It means conversation. It means, you know, you guys joining the live stream or on the listening on the podcast. It's investing your time and attention to skating. And, you know, I think that's what's going to keep skating alive. You know, more and more of us out there producing content that you can consume and sharing our stories and sharing our clips and videos and pictures so that everybody out there is part of this blading community. All right, let me get a drink, and then I will go on to my next topic. Drew asks, are there center bracing? Yes. So I just put them away. But the H-block has a line on the inside that is a center brace. There is no center brace vertically, though, or horizontally, though. The H-block is the only thing. So if you were comparing it to like these Flying Eagles, which I know that you love, that have this center bracing right here, there is nothing like that. The only center bracing is in the H-block. Right. Okay, let me talk a little bit about some fitness stuff. And I know that you know, this might not necessarily be skate gear, but it's gear for older people who hurt themselves. You know, when we would skate back in the days, we would just put on our skates and go. And that worked out great for, you know, 16-year-old kids who didn't really have a care in their world. And we just kind of skated and, you know, we slept in and we went to school and that's about it. But I'm a dad and, you know, I have a full-time job and I want to make sure that I can do my job, you know, take care of my kids, you know, put food on the table, show up to work, and pain hurts and it's a distraction and I don't like pain. So I've already talked a lot about helmets and knee pads and elbow pads and wrist guards and stuff like that. What I wanted to talk about tonight is what do you do after skating? You know, even if you're wearing pads, you're going to get injured. You're going to get bruises. You're going to get sore muscles. You're going to get, you know, little trigger points and stuff that are going to throw you off. I've had some health issues. You know, I've been suffering from a shoulder injury. I think that my shoulder injury, so I started hurting probably in October of last year. It was right before Blading Cup. And I think it was when I was learning Royales on the 72 Aeons. And, oh, no, it was some other skates. What other skates was I on? I don't know what I was on. Oh, I was on the Thems out there. Anyway, I probably injured it earlier, but it really got it inflamed then. And I think from putting my hand down and catching myself doing royales, I was hurting my shoulder. And like just this feeling of it slamming up into my shoulder over and over again. I mean, I can kind of feel it right now. I tried a lot of different things. I tried chiropractic. So this kind of led to a back problem, kind of led to an arm and like hip problem. I've tried chiropractic. I've tried yoga. I've tried deep tissue massage. I've tried a lot of different things, and nothing really worked all that well. So I think that the problem was that, this was before I was stretching every day. This was before I was doing any sort of cool down after skating. And this was before I was doing any sort of nightly process to rebuild my muscles, to loosen my muscles so that things can stretch and get back into place. So I have some gear here that I wanted to show you that I use on a fairly regular basis. There's going to be opinions out there whether this is good stuff or bad stuff for you. I definitely recommend it. I think that it's worked well for me. There might be better stuff out there, but there might be stuff out there that, maybe this stuff doesn't do great for everyone. It does really well for me. So I wanted to share it just so that everybody can see what I use. And, I would love to hear from other people who have experience here. Maybe the things that I'm using aren't the best. Maybe I'm actually hurting myself a little bit more by doing them, but it sure feels better when I do. And I have more range of motion as a result. So the first thing is a foam roller. So the foam roller that I use is this Trigger Point foam roller. It is probably like $30 on Amazon, something like that. It is a plastic cylinder with a rubber squishy sort of coating. The coating has little notches in it so that it can really get in there. If you've watched any of Josh Acosta's videos, he does a really good video discussing foam rollers. Highly recommend watching that and how he uses a foam roller. I think foam rollers are really great for people who are active, maybe not injured, but if you get sore after you skate, foam roller will really help. When we're doing aggressive skating especially, you're doing a lot of jumping. You're raising your arms up, you're throwing your body up. You're doing spins and you're tweaking your side and you're catching yourself. Like me, when I'm catching my royales, you catch yourself and, your shoulder gets hurt or your wrists or anything like that. So I use a foam roller, not every night, a couple times a week. I use it for my legs. I use it for my back. The way that I use it is I'll usually stretch first, just really slow stretching and arm stretching and neck stretching and stuff like that, back stretching. And then I'll use this on my back. So I'll put this on my back and I'll lay down. I'll put this on the ground and I'll lay down on it, face up and roll over different areas of my back. And I'll try to get every little bit of my back with this thing. What it does is it stretches and it expands the microfascia in your muscles. And I probably got that wrong, but that's the way that I understand it. The microfascia, from what I understand, is the stuff that keeps your muscles tight. So if you ever had a really tight muscle or if you ever got sore, it's because that microfascia is all tight up in there. This loosens it up, stretches it out so that it's a lot easier for it to heal itself. At least that's the story that I've been told. Again, I'm not a physical therapist. I don't know, but foam rollers are very popular. You'll find them in a lot of gyms. People do them after they skate. People do them after workouts. I'll probably be bringing this with me to Woodward. I think this is a really good piece of equipment to use, especially if you're getting older and you get a little more sore than you used to. Roll yourself out anywhere that hurts. Roll your legs, roll your calves, roll your back, stuff like that. Really, really good. And it's only like $30 or so. Made by the same company, I have this Trigger Point release thing. So this thing, I think it was like $20. What this thing does is they have fairly hard, these ball things. I don't really know what they would be, but a trigger point is kind of like a a little knot in your muscles. I get them a lot in my shoulder. I get them a lot in my back. What these do is they can help release those trigger points. So you can do it with a foam roller. I prefer to do it with this. Basically, there's a few ways you can do it. You can use this and just get really, like if it was on my arm, get really precise with it. You can find that little knot and you just push, move it around a little bit, and just like let it sit there for a little bit, move it, let it sit there, move it, let it sit there. Use a little bit of leverage with this thing. Cool thing about this is it's got this little hook so you can get it in your back or in your shoulders. I really like this one for that. I get a lot of trigger points and tight muscles in my shoulder, like I was saying. This thing works really well. You could just put it back there and hold it and just kind of let it find that really tight muscle. Just kind of move it around a little bit. Just let it sit there. Sometimes it'll release, sometimes it won't, but the more you can move it around and give it a little bit of stretching back there in a very precise area, the better. So I really like this thing. I don't know what it's called. It's made by Trigger Point. You can probably find it. It looks like a little cane. It's got 2 orange balls on it. It's pretty cool. Finally, so I got this last month. This thing is amazing. So this is the Pure Wave Percussion Massager. It is fierce. So this thing wasn't cheap. This was like $150. It is a percussion massager. So instead of like, the sort of massager that just kind of goes like that and everything, this thing actually makes this this handle go out, 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 like you're doing hitting an area over and over and over again. It's got a battery so that you can charge it up, and it's got a variable speed. So as you turn it up, it starts going faster and faster and faster in the front. You turn it all the way up, and you can hear it get all crazy like that. This thing has been amazing for my back. So any sore muscles, any tight muscles, this thing loosens them up super well. It comes with a bunch of attachments. The one that I use the most is this hard trigger point one. There's another one, this soft one that I use. Kind of like a little mushroom that sits on top. This is kind of for like massaging an area. Like if you were doing it on your shoulder or you didn't have the trigger point or anything, you just wanted to relax the muscle. This thing works really well. But yeah, I've been using this almost every night since I got it. The thing has been rock solid. I really like it. I think that this is, if I had to have one piece of recovery equipment, I would probably have this. This thing just does a really great job of relaxing my muscles, relaxing the little areas that get tight. And I can't believe I didn't have this. You'll see these at any physical therapist now. They're really great. They work wonders. So if you do suffer from sore muscles or trigger points or any, range of motion issues, definitely take a look at any of these things. Most of all, go to a physical therapist. If you're in pain, don't listen to me. Get some advice from them. Get some exercises that you can follow, and try to do it right. I've done a lot of research, and I've come to these conclusions and these exercises that work well for me. But everybody's body is different. You should listen to yours and get some advice from somebody who can tell you what works best for you. All right. Don't think you guys expected that tonight. All right, let me see if there's any questions about the fitness equipment. Not really fitness equipment. I don't know what you would call it. I guess fitness equipment. Guam Tech. My man, Guam Tech. I do the same regimen after 5 minutes of mobility beforehand, 10 minutes stretch afterwards, a little weed, all right, and CBD oil and magnesium. Yep. So I've heard good things about CBD oil. I don't know that I believe it. I have some that I've used. It worked pretty well. Most important thing is full night of sleep. Absolutely. Like, your body needs time to heal itself. So no matter what you do, if you're not taking care of your body by sleeping, you're asking for more trouble. Lots of good, like, hot baths and showers, lots of good stretching, any sort of massage or foam roller or anything that you can do to loosen up your muscles and give yourself rest, sleep. You got to make sure that you rest yourself. I can't skate aggressive twice in a weekend. It's just too hard on my body. I'll do it like on a midweek and then a weekend, but falling down hurts. And, if you don't take care of your body, it's going to keep hurting. Good comment, though. A lot of weed. Weed seems to be working pretty well. I mean, I'm not a smoker, but I don't have any problem with it. It was pretty obvious in California that a lot of people are. I think the relaxing nature of it, I mean, it's a muscle relaxer in a lot of ways, right? So I don't see that as a problem, right? Obviously, keeping it to your house, I have a beer from time to time and I'm not going to go out driving. So any way that you can relax your body, relax your muscles, whether it's through massager, a little substance, fine by me, do your thing. Mr. Self-Destruct's brother, or sister, I guess brother. I'm super curious how you put together the blading community trick edit every month. What's the process like? How much of it is automated, or do you have to stitch them all together? That is a good question. So for those who don't know, Blading Community is a monthly challenge that the Slack channel puts together. The Blading Community is about doing one trick a month and challenging each other to learn that trick, or to do that trick on an obstacle that you wouldn't necessarily do it on. At the end of the month, you upload your clip. Everybody around the world uploads a clip, and I put together an edit of everybody completing the trick into one single edit. So last month was the Mizu. We had 180 Mizus, something like that. It was ridiculous. And it was a 10, 11 minute long edit of people doing Mizus. So everybody getting together doing their same trick in their own style on their own obstacles. It was incredible. It's an incredible project. I'm really thrilled that people are participating in it. Thanks to the Slack channel and the Slack to Blading crew for taking the time, keeping me honest, helping me with this project. I could not do it without you, so thank you again so much if you're listening. Really appreciate it. That is the front end stuff. The back end stuff is fairly automated, fairly not automated, unfortunately. So I use Final Cut Pro and Dropbox. So Dropbox is where the file requests go. So when you upload your file, it goes there. I've added a step which made things a lot easier, where people register and they put in their first name, last name if they want, whatever their name is, their location and their Instagram. Location is really cool. Like it could be as simple as the UK or the Philippines or whatever. But when you see other people skating in your country or in your state, it just feels great. So the location has been great. After the video, after the clip gets uploaded, it gets moved to a Dropbox account. This is all automated. And at the end of the month, I go into Final Cut and I grab all of the files from the Dropbox and I put them in order, usually in order of when they're uploaded, and drag them into Final Cut. And it just goes through and it processes, so it renders everything. I get a lot of weird file formats. Everything gets converted into a standard 1080p, 30 frames per second video. And that takes, I have a pretty good computer, so it takes a little bit, not too long, but maybe 10 minutes or so. Renders all of that, and then I go through and I start editing. And that's where it takes a long time. And it is a manual process. So I look at every clip, I edit the start and the finish. I usually try to get everybody at least 3 seconds. That's kind of my go-to. Obviously, if you're doing a Mizu and you're on a long rail, I'm going to get you, a second or two before, on the approach and a second after. I don't want to cut it. So if you're on for 10 seconds and you can hold a Mizu for 10 seconds on a rail, I'm going to put it all in. But I make sure that I get the start to finish. And after I get through all of the clips and I have them all edited, I drop a time, what's it called? a text overlay, which does the title. So it has the name, and then it has the Instagram and the subtitle. So it has the name as the title, and then the Instagram and the location as the subtitle. And I cut them out, so every single clip has its own thing, and that's where the manual process goes. That's where I listen to music and just kind of zone out. So I look at the file names, and I try to find the name of the person, and then I'll look at the spreadsheet. And I put them in alphabetical order on the Google Doc, and I copy and paste. And I do that 180 times. And it sucks. I don't have a better way to do it. I wish that there was a way that you could import stuff into Final Cut from a Google Doc. I don't know that you can. If there is, somebody please let me know. I would love to do that. I've gotten pretty good at it, so it doesn't take me too long. But it's a couple hours of work from start to finish for me to do this whole process. It's a labor of love. I mean, I think that it's, again, something that I love to do for the community. I'm in a very unique position where I have an audience like you guys that will participate in my crazy ideas. And, clearly it's been hitting a lot further than I had anticipated. And, just looking at people skating really makes me happy. There are people from around the world who are participating in this crazy idea. And it's great, and we do it every month. And, I mean, who would have thought that would ever happen, right? Back in the Video Groove days, you would submit some clips, and, maybe they'd get in or maybe not. There's a guarantee that you're going to get some sort of distribution. And these clips are getting 2,000 views. And it's a pretty good chance that you're going to get out there. So, absolutely love it. Again, I don't ask for anything. I think that, just so long as you promote blading and share the video when it comes out with your crew and make sure that they're participating. I'd love to get over 200 someday. Love to get over 500. I mean, that would be huge, right? It would be like a 20-minute edit. So I don't know that that's a great idea for everyone. But yeah, I think it's great. I love investing my time in this. It takes me a few days to do it. Some days are busier than others. Some weeks are harder to get time to do it. So sometimes it's a little later on the release than I would like. But yeah. It's a manual process. It's really hard to do, but it's totally worth it. All right, are there any other questions? We're at an hour, so I don't want to go too long tonight. What beer am I drinking? This is a PBR, nothing special tonight. Or maybe it's special if this is where you're from, but for me, PBR is kind of I like to drink PBR in the summer. It's just a nice refreshing beer when I don't have like a big hoppy like sort of IPA thing. My go-to is a Hopium from, what are they from? Oh no, Hopium is from Foothill Brewery, I think. They are in Winston-Salem, so North Carolina brewery. Hopium is great. If you're ever out here, definitely pick up a six-pack. But yeah, for my daily drinker, I really like the PBR. It's just a really easy, cheap beer that, goes down smooth. It's refreshing. Nothing special. That was Jeffrey Rolls again, by the way. Sorry. David Pearson, speaking of the fitness aspect, did you know the American Heart Association recommends skating as a low-impact cardio? I've lost 80 pounds skating again. Well, first of all, congratulations, David. Welcome back, and it's awesome to hear that you have lost some weight. I did not know that, but I think that's a great selling point. I think fitness is an interesting way to promote skating. I'm not sure that it's the best way to promote skating. It's so fairly dangerous. Maybe if you had a brake on, it would be a little less so, but skating can be scary. I mean, you've got wheels on your feet, and the cement isn't always smooth, and there might be kids jumping in front of you. So it's really difficult to find a really good place to skate safely. Obviously, if you're watching this or if you're listening to this on the podcast, you know how to skate. You don't have any problems with that. But, trying to get somebody into it for fitness, it's going to be tough. It sounds like you are back, though. So you must have skated before. I am, in the same boat, and I got back into it because I wanted to stay in shape. And though I didn't need to lose any weight, I definitely needed to get my heart rate improved and my, blood circulation and all of that. And I feel so much better now that I have. Skating's definitely great. The amazing thing about skating is that there's no rules. You can just go out and skate. So if you have 30 minutes, great. If you have 15 minutes, great. Anytime that you have, you can go outside, put your skates on, and just go skate. You don't have to wait for public session at the ice rink. You don't have to wait for your gym class or something like that. You can just go out and skate. So, great tip, great info, and congratulations on losing the weight. Keep at it. Let's get you into great shape again. I mean, skating can do wonders. Joseph Lux, when will the 50/50 bags be shipping? Lord. Oh, these backpacks are killing me. So not only were they a week delayed getting through customs, but for whatever reason, they were supposed to be delivered directly to my office, but they went to a distribution center in Atlanta. So I'm trying to track them down now. The good news is that they're on the East Coast. The bad news is that I don't know exactly where they are. It sucks. The bag shipment is just, it's a new vendor. It's the old vendor, but I haven't worked with them in like 15 years, so I don't really know what to expect. Apologize for the delay. I was hoping that they'd be ready in the first week of June. Obviously, that's looking like the last week of June. But as soon as I know, I will update you. I'm ready to ship. I cleaned out my garage so that I have room for them 2 weeks ago, and I had the water bottles delivered 2 weeks ago. So I've been ready to ship for 2 weeks, and they're not here. So I don't have any good updates. I know that they, they have left the, they've gotten through customs. They got through customs last week. It was supposed to be a week to get from the warehouse in California here to my office in North Carolina. That week has gone and passed. It was yesterday. They were supposed to be here yesterday, and they weren't. I haven't gotten an update today, so I'm going to pick up the phone and call them again tomorrow morning and see if I can get at least an update. I've told them that these are already late. Like, at least communicate with me. Tell me if you're going to be late. Tell me when you're going to be late. So, I don't know. I hope to get an update. I will send out an email to everybody who's pre-ordered and let you know what's going on tomorrow as soon as I get an update. But again, apologize. Things are really difficult to control when it comes to third-party logistics. Even production is really difficult to control. You'll see that I have a video every week. That's because I'm the only one that I have to talk to make a video every week. You see that the Blading Community Challenge is fairly regularly on time. You see that everything that I do is on time. It's when you have third parties helping you with stuff, which you can't do everything yourself, that things tend to fall apart a little bit. So working on it. I hope to have a good update tomorrow. And thanks for your patience. It sucks. I want the bags too. Jess has a couple bags that he got directly from the warehouse in California, and they look great. And I'm like, dude, like, let's, if only you had all the bags and could ship them all from there, but he can't. He's just in an apartment. He doesn't have a big warehouse or anything. So anyway, thanks for the question. I will update you as soon as I know more. Right. One more question. Any chance of multi-wheel packs being discounted, like 8 for $70, stuff like that? Not really. I don't like to discount stuff directly on the website. So when I got back into it, first of all, when I left 50/50 back in like 2003, 2004, we just started doing online sales, and it was a real early time for that. This was 12 years ago, 15 years ago or so, and I didn't really know what to expect. Most important thing is I didn't want to damage the relationship that I had with shops. Shops are the lifeline of skating. they're the place that people go to learn about skating. They are the most knowledgeable. I can't carry everything, right? If I could, I would be a shop. I don't want to carry everything. I want to specialize in a few products. So shops are very important in our ecosystem. And we do everything that we can to promote shops. We do everything that we can to get shops exposure and to link to shops when people are in the area. And I try to, make sure that when people talk to me, I know what shops to go to, especially international where it can be more difficult to find stuff. I don't want to undercut shops. So I set a manufacturer's suggested retail price, the MSRP. And that's how much that the wheels should cost from 5050frames.com or skateeverywhere.com, which is the Compass website. I won't undercut that cost. Sometimes I'll throw in some freebies, like I put in, whenever you order from me, I'll usually put in some extra stickers, or, if I've got, bottle koozies or whatever. I like to throw in some cool stuff, but I won't undercut. Shops definitely have discounts. So I know Inline Warehouse was having a 20% discount over the Memorial Day weekend. Roller Warehouse, Oak City. If you call up a shop, you could probably get a better deal. There are a lot of companies that have restrictions on how low they can advertise. That doesn't mean that you won't get a better deal if you call them up. So I won't be doing any deals or anything like that. I do discounts on the clothing because clothing is a little different. I feel like clothing is a line that I have a little bit of flexibility with. And we will have some new clothing for the pre-orders, some new shirts, some new hats, stuff like that. But I don't want to undercut the shops for wheels or for frames or for bearings or anything like that. So definitely look for deals on shops. Shops sometimes have a 10%, sometimes have a 20%. Give them a call, see if they can work a deal. That's the best way to do it. If you're looking for a slightly cheaper price on things. I will always have products in stock. If I can, I will have it in stock. But I'm never going to discount it. I'm going to always have it at the manufacturer's suggested retail price because I don't want to take business from a shop. I want to be able to provide things. If the shop doesn't have it, they don't have to feel pressure to carry everything. Like, I've got juice blocks in white, black, and yellow. Shops don't need to carry all of those because I have them. And if you want them, I've got them in stock. I'll send them out. Shops can only carry so much inventory. They don't need to carry everything. They need to carry stuff that's going to sell so that they can buy more stuff and they can stay in business. So definitely look out for a shop. You will be able to find a deal on products. Usually new release products is pretty rare to find deals. But if you give them a call, I'm sure that they can work something out for you. All right, I think that's it. My voice is about to go. Thank you all so much for joining me tonight. It's been great. Again, I do this every 2 weeks, so Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern on the YouTube. Blading Community Challenge this month is the backside grind, and a backside is one of those fundamental grinds that a lot of people have overlooked. So if you are a new school skater, you've never learned a backside, there's no better time to learn. It's kind of like a Mizu. It's kind of like a back royale. I don't know how to compare it. But it's a nice, easy grind that you should learn quickly, especially on coping. Really great grind on coping. Anyway, thank you all for watching and listening. And I'll see you again in 2 weeks.